January is in full swing, and while there's a lot of exciting New Year energy floating around, that does not mean we are immune to the winter blues. I don't know about you guys, but I've been sniffling for like an entire week, doesn't show any signs of letting up soon. It's dark when we get up, it's dark when we go to bed, and I've also been feeling like I've got a little bit of a case of the winter uglies. Maybe you can relate to some of what I'm saying. And in today's episode, I essentially wanted to create my winter thrive guide, instead of like a winter survival guide to reshape the mindset that we can thrive during this colder, darker season. Today, I'm going to be sharing a bunch of my winter favorites from fashion to food and even how to stay entertained when you're stuck inside. So grab a glass of wine or hot chocolate, whatever your favorite winter beverage is, and let's do a little brainstorming together about how we can thrive and not just survive this winter. Before we get into these winter favorites, we of course have to do create and consume first. So as a reminder, feel free to leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment if you're listening on Spotify, or reach out. All the ways to get in touch are in the show notes, and let us know what you are creating and consuming each week. Whether you're snapping photos just to keep in your camera roll or you're sharing content with the world, we are all creating and consuming every single week. And I will tell you now what I've been up to on that front. As far as what I've been creating this past week, I just shared a reel on Instagram that I am really proud of. And I basically am trying to dip a little bit back into the content creator tips over on Instagram. I never meant to like fully abandon them over there. But for me, Instagram is such a great place to share all of my different interests, whether it's fashion, beauty, city living, or traveling. And I feel like the content creator tips kind of just got lost in the sauce a bit, but I'm trying to bring them back, sprinkle in more so through the lens of like, what is entrepreneurship? What is going on behind the scenes of someone who's self-employed, or what is a content creator thinking about, so that it's a little bit more journey focused and a little bit less tips focused. So anyway, what I shared this week in my reel was a little brainstorming video where I actually sit down and walk you through a 3-step system for how you can brainstorm an entire year of content ideas in just 1 hour. And the way I broke this down was with 3 different themes for brainstorming. So one theme is brand new ideas, where you just kind of sit down and write any and every idea that crosses your mind. And believe me, as someone who did this exercise, not all of them are winners, but it is good to get them out of your head and onto paper so you can like decide that for yourself. Another theme is to look back at your previously successful content and basically challenge yourself to come up with some new related ideas based on what your audience has already been loving. And then the last one was all about tapping into seasonal trends. So for example, actually this episode would be a great example of that. Like feeling a bit of the winter blues, let's get into some favorites and some things that can help us look and feel our best during this season so that we can actually have a good time here and not just be counting down the days till spring. Because I don't know about you, but I'm a believer in celebrating each season of life as it's actually happening. And I think about this all the time when I think about my friends who live in, I don't know, like LA or Florida. Like I love living in the Northeast and experiencing seasons because I feel like it makes me appreciate what I love about seasons so much more when I'm not experiencing them 24/7. I even look at someone like my husband Andrew, who loves summer, but who can appreciate certain things about winter. For example, right now he's training for another marathon. Did I even tell you guys this? He's training for his 4th marathon, which is coming up in April, which is crazy. And he has been running after work. And obviously, even though it's dark, he's like, it's so much better to run during the winter months versus running in the summer when it's just so hot. You can't escape the sun and the humidity can really take a toll on you versus running in the winter months. It's cold, obviously, but as you run, you warm up and you don't have to deal with the inescapable heat. You can kind of like layer up and figure out what makes the most sense for you. So it's more enjoyable. And that's coming from someone who's fully like a summer person through and through. So if any of you guys out there are content creators, I'm going to link the reel in the show notes. Definitely go give it a watch and let me know if you do this plan, because I actually did it for short form content and for my YouTube channel in the last 2 weeks. And I'm not saying I'm going to execute every single idea, but as of right now, I have so many ideas that I just can't wait to create. So anytime I'm feeling uninspired, I have this list that I can just refer back to and pull from. And I like creating smarter, not harder. So I'm super happy that I was able to do that and share my process with you guys. Okay, as far as what I'm consuming this week, there is so much to watch and consume. We will get into it when we talk about winter TV shows, but I absolutely must take a few minutes to talk about how much I love Traders US. I'm so happy this show is back. It may be one of my like, oh gosh, can I even say this? Actually, I was talking to a few friends from high school, my friends Jake and Artoon, who we've just been friends forever, like going back to when we were 13, 14 years old. We were talking about this because I caught up with them over the holidays. We got some coffee together, and Artoon posed the question to us, like, what is your guys' Mount Rushmore of television shows? I kind of feel like I want to put Traders on mine. Let me know if you guys would be interested in an episode like that in the future. I feel like it would be fun to do the Mount Rushmore of TV shows, albums, movies, and it could be your personal take on it. Obviously, there's plenty of critical things and more highbrow takes that I'm sure could play into like what are the top 4 movies of all time. We don't need to, dissect that personally, but I think that it would be really fun to figure out like what is my perfect combination of shows in the reality category though, and just as far as what I look forward to and the quality of the show and how much I enjoy just like the dynamics of watching it. Traders is absolutely up there. Okay, so Traders season 4 has just begun. So at the time I am recording this, the first 3 episodes have dropped. And if you're not familiar, essentially a bunch of different reality stars, at least this is the how the US version primarily works, a bunch of different reality stars from all different franchises like Housewives, Love Games like The Bachelor and Love Island, Bravo shows like Below Deck or Summer House, gaming shows like Big Brother, Survivor, The Amazing Race. People from all different disciplines of reality television come together and basically play like a big game of assassin inside of a castle in Scotland hosted by Alan Cumming. And Alan Cumming is the perfect Traders host, like for sure. He's literally won an Emmy for his hosting skills. He is always deeply in character. His outfits are fabulous. The way he delivers every single line, like, he's clocked in. There are definitely some reality show hosts who are very clearly like, okay, I have come to say the thing I was paid to say, and I'm going to leave now, and I don't care what happens to any of these people. And I feel like he genuinely gets so swept up in the fun of it. It makes it so enjoyable to watch. So yes, season 4 has begun. I am already just so excited about how things are shaping up and playing out. I really don't want to spoil anything because I know how it feels to be spoiled, especially for something like this that's episodic and that's dropping in real time. I will say I've been posting about it a lot on Threads, and as far as the new twist in this season, I did share some thoughts over on Threads about that. So I can link that in the show notes, specifically one thing that I posted that a lot of people weighed in on. So if you want to chat more over there, definitely hit me up. I like also on Threads that I'm able to use that spoiler feature. So I can be like, when blank got eliminated, I thought blah, 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 blah. Like, and that you can kind of blur out the name. So I actually think that functionality is so smart. It's just that not everyone uses it. So you kind of have to surf the web at your own risk to risk being spoiled in this day and age. And I feel like the commentary and everything just comes out so quickly. And also on that note, I feel like this is the one big downside about being an East Coaster is so many things start so late. I mean, the Traders drops at 9 p.m., which I can stay up to watch it, but realistically speaking, I've been going to bed at like 9:45, maybe 10 lately. So when I finish the episode, I just want to like immediately roll into bed. Like I want my teeth to be brushed and for me to just like escort myself from the couch back to my bed. If it came on at 8 o'clock, that would make a world of difference. So congratulations to any of you in the central time zone, because I feel like you are winning on that front. But anyway, I know it sounds a little silly on the surface level, and it is in some ways, but it's actually also so well done, and you get so invested in everyone's storylines and characters. So if you guys have not checked it out yet, I really, really do recommend it. Truly just such a good time. But with that all being said, let's get into some winter favorites. And it's so funny because I used to make favorites videos over on YouTube. If you guys don't know, I started my YouTube channel back in 2017. So, oh my God, next year it's going to be 10 years old. That does not feel real at all. People are posting also like 2016 throwbacks right now. And I'm like, That was yesterday. I don't know what you all are talking about. Yeah, I remember the favorites videos on YouTube were like its own little sub brand of content, which I always loved and looked forward to. Like I used to watch Zoella's monthly favorites videos, and I definitely created a bunch myself. I specifically remember one video in 2017 that I did that was like April favorites actually did really well for my channel and brought me a bunch of new people. I definitely have like a summer favorites video somewhere. And I just love when people love things and want to talk about them. And apparently you guys do too, because I did a summer favorites episode for the podcast last year, not really thinking much of it. And that ended up being one of my like better performing episodes of the podcast from last season. So I figured we would do basically the same thing, but just in a different font. We're going to do the winter version today. So I want to talk through, I wrote down a couple of things for fashion, beauty, food, books, and TV. And I am super excited to just share some of my favorites and hopefully give you guys some inspiration for how to make winter feel fun and exciting and not just like something we are slogging through to try to like claw our way to April 1st on the calendar, because I really do think that winter is a gorgeous season. I feel like sometimes it gets a bad rap compared to like spring, summer, and fall, but there is a lot to love about winter too. And starting off with fashion, the cozy loungewear, you guys. Like, I love feeling cocooned or cozy or just really comfortable in winter. And I feel like because of the nature of the season, like the hibernation of it all and the slowing down and the trying to just like figure out what your next move is going to be really allows for this time for you to like cocoon and just enjoy being in the comfort of your own home, being in things that feel super comfortable and that just make you feel really warm and cozy. And sometimes that is a necessity. I don't know about you guys, but I have been like just truly a little bit chilly walking around my apartment, and the heat is like fully on. Like I don't have any issues with that really, but it's more so just like an inner chill. And whenever I'm able to actually layer up and wear super comfy clothes, that always helps with that and makes me feel better. I actually saw a meme. I'm going to scroll back in my Instagram messages with Andrew because I do remember sending it to him. It was like an Onion article. It was like, girlfriend will be under blanket like for the duration of winter or something. If I can find it, I'll put it on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. But that is so perfectly describes how I feel about winter. And on that note, actually, if you guys have any recommendations for your favorite blankets, I am currently in search of a new blanket to drape over the edge of our bed. I have a blanket there now, and it's kind of like at an angle because it's not really that big. And our bed is now like we upgraded from a queen to a California king in this apartment. So I don't have something that stretches all the way across the bottom. So if you guys happen to have any favorites, let me know what they are, because we have a lot of like little small blankets that are good for, you know, one person like being cuddled up on the couch, but we don't really have any of those big blankets. So I'm kind of in the market for one of those because I feel like the apartment could use it. Okay, but we're not talking about home right now. Austin, follow your outline. We're talking about fashion first, starting with cozy loungewear. And I thought I would just share a couple of my favorite places where I get cozy loungewear. Number one is finding crewneck sweatshirts from Etsy shops. I know that we have so many amazing luxury brands that are almost fully focused on loungewear and athleisure and bringing comfort and style together. But sometimes there's nothing just like a good old oversized Hanes crewneck sweater. And the reason I like buying these crewneck sweatshirts from Etsy is because there are so many creative designers on there who will put so many different fun little designs on these sweatshirts. So not only can you get something that is relatively affordable, I would say, like it's really just the cost of the sweatshirt and then screen printing and then shipping, but you can get something that feels so customized to you. So a couple of my favorites that I've gotten over the years from Etsy. I am a big fan of Gilmore Girls, so I was able to find a sweatshirt that said Stars Hollow on it with the gazebo from the show, and that sweatshirt's a little bit more fall coated, but there's probably even different versions of that. Like I have the fall one, but there's almost certainly a winter one. Lorelai Gilmore's whole thing with snow is that she can smell it before it's even started. Like she loves snow and always romanticizes that. So you could get one related to like your favorite TV show. I also have a New York Giants one, which I actually did put back on this weekend because the Eagles got knocked out of the playoffs. Sorry to any of my Philadelphia fans, but as a Giants fan, that's obviously very satisfying to me. So you could get one with your favorite sports team on it. Or I also had one for Christmas that says "'Tis the Damn Season," which is obviously a Taylor Swift song, with a bunch of hand-drawn little Christmas trees. So that one I wear pretty much every day in December. Like, I wear it and then I wash it and put it right back on as soon as it comes out of the dryer. And I love that this way I'm usually supporting like a local women owned business, and I'm able to get something super custom and fun for me. So you can look and browse, literally think of any small niche thing that you want. And I guarantee you there is an Etsy seller who can make you a crew neck sweater featuring it. Okay, another piece of loungewear that I'm currently obsessed with is a pair of sweats that I got from Aerie by American Eagle. And I have looked high and low on the website, but I cannot find a link to these sweatpants. And that makes me terribly sad just because they are so soft. They're the perfect sweat material where, because it is so lightweight, you know you're not going to overheat, but then it has this like fleece lined inside and wide leg, and it's just so comfy and even oversized. So I ended up getting a pair of sweatpants and then a matching super soft like box cut t-shirt. This is my favorite at home uniform right now. Just like when I first wake up, usually I don't know about you guys, but I always have to sleep in shorts and a t-shirt because I am a hot sleeper. But when I get out of bed, obviously I want to like put more layers on. So I usually just reach for like a pair of sweats like this and then one of my go-to sweatshirts that I just described to you. And I put my little slippers on. I am wearing them literally right now as I'm recording. They are by the brand, I'm going to mess up the name, Kookaburra by UGG, and they're literally on Amazon. I can link those in the show notes, actually. This is my second pair of them. I actually ended up putting the first pair that I got at my parents' house, so that way I'm like never without them when I'm on the go. And then this pair I just wear all the time walking around in the winter in the apartment. Like, these are my apartment slippers, to be clear. So yeah, those are some of the loungewear pieces I've been thinking a lot about. Let me know though. I'm always in search of more. If you guys have a favorite loungewear brand, I've obviously heard really good things about Skims, and I do have one set from a brand called Luxome that I really like. That's like a higher price point, but I also just want to acknowledge, like, I know how expensive everything is lately, and I feel like there are really affordable ways to feel chic and cozy and comfy at home that do not involve spending more money. But if there's something that you truly feel is worth it, definitely let me know because I am always on the lookout. And kind of on that note, one thing that I really love wearing in the winter months is like a statement sweater. If you're watching on YouTube today, I've got one on right now. It actually kind of too closely matches my microphone. I did not really think that through before I sat down to record. So if you're watching me for the first time, you're like, oh my God, that girl is a walking pink nightmare. Please know that I am usually not as matchy as this. I do love a pop of pink, clearly, if you look at like my desktop background or the fact that I bought this pink microphone on Amazon for the podcast. But anyway, on that note, I wanted to take a minute to talk about statement sweaters because I feel like they are one of the easiest, like if you are so unmotivated to get dressed in the winter, one of the easiest ways to make your outfit fun without having to think too much about what you're wearing from head to toe, because they really provide just that one statement, whether it's a color or the way that it's cut. Like, this one is off the shoulder, which I've been wanting to try something like this, but I haven't really found one that I have wanted to commit to buying. So this sweater I'm actually renting from Nuuly, which is something I always recommend to people. Like, the ability to rent things and test them out, test the waters before you commit to buying them, is something that I think has really helped me hone in on my personal style. I actually have a whole episode where I talk about finding my personal style for the podcast, so I will link that in the show notes in case you want to hear more about that. But even in this month's Nuuly, for example, I ended up going back and looking at my color analysis that my friend Sarah helped me do. She is like an expert in color, and she helped me figure out that I'm a dark autumn. And I tried to pick a bunch of things this month to rent based on that color story. So luckily for me, this color pink that I already love is in the dark autumn color palette, but there's also a lot of blue tones, which is not really a color I wear that often. So I decided to make one of my Nuuly rentals this month a blue sweater. I might even wear it in the next podcast episode. We'll see which order I end up styling things in, assuming everything fits. But I just really love being able to, again, experiment with stuff like that without having to commit to buy something full price. For me, the Nuuly is, what is it, $98, and you get to rent 6 items. And that's something that I've just been pretty good about. Like, you can pause the subscription whenever you need to, but I do probably rent like at least 5 or 6 Nuulys a year just to like get some new pieces in, try new stuff, and get to play around, which is fun. Oh, and I definitely have a Nuuly discount code if you've never used Nuuly before. I will link that in the show notes as well. And you let the statement sweater do all the work. And also on that note, once you find a sweater style that you love, I personally just say buy it in a couple of colors, and that way you don't even have to think twice about it. Obviously, I love renting and I do try to thrift when I can. I would love to like thrift more and thrift more thoughtfully. I feel like lately when I've gone to thrift stores, I haven't really had the time to like actually, really settle in and sort through stuff the way that I would like to. But like I do have this one sweater from Amazon that is honestly such a great weight on me. I feel like weight of sweaters matters a lot, especially if you get hot easily or if you prefer, natural materials and fibers and stuff like that. But I do have one from Amazon that's like a perfect light to medium weight that I'll typically layer a long sleeve top underneath. And that one is like always available and I could easily buy it in more colors. I think I might venture out and do more of like a fun bright shade because right now I just have it in plain white. So that's another really good tip too, is once you find the one that you love, just get it in a couple of colors because then that way you can assemble a uniform, like your go-to winter uniform, so easily. And also on the winter fashion front, I feel like strategic layering and learning how to stay warm in the winter months is something that makes you so much more willing to follow through on your plans, especially if they involve leaving your house, just to know that, yes, it's cold outside, but I myself will not be cold. Like I have a system in place. I know my go-to jacket. I know my go-to layering pieces to make sure that I am going to stay warm even when it is cold out. And maybe this is more of a thing that I think about as someone who lives in a city and takes public transportation a lot of places. Like I am sometimes outside for long stretches of time. For me, it's a lot more rare to like get in my car, drive somewhere, and then spend less than 20 seconds outside going to my destination. So on that note, Uniqlo Heat Tech, I always love layering these pieces underneath sweaters and my coats, especially if I'm planning to be outside for any stretch of time. They have so many different variations of everything. I will link some in the description that I like, but honestly, I do recommend going to the store and actually feeling everything for yourself just to make sure you're not buying something that's too light or too heavy because they have so many things under the Heat Tech brand. I feel like you don't really know unless you're there, like touching everything for yourself. Also, I love a gigantic oversized scarf. My favorite one that I have, I got from Urban Outfitters a few years ago, and it's kind of like a knockoff of the Acne Studios one, but I just love like a huge, big, colorful scarf, especially to pair with a jacket and make it more fun. I know that bonnets are really big this season. I don't personally own one slash feel like I could pull off that look. I feel like I would just look like a little Bo Peep personally, but I totally understand the hype and the appeal of them. And obviously like a good pair of gloves. They even make gloves with touch technology, so you can keep your gloves on and still use your phone. I feel like there are so many options for those on Amazon and in other places. And also a fleece lined tight, obviously love that as well. And also even grabbing a bag of hand warmers from Amazon is probably a good move, just so you can throw them in each of your coat pockets and activate them if you need to. Again, I first purchased hand warmers because of Andrew's running and his races. A lot of times when he has an official race, which reminds me he has a half marathon next month, so that can be like preparation for his upcoming marathon. I just find this so impressive, by the way, you guys. If you are a runner, you probably are like, yeah, that seems pretty standard, like the time in between races and stuff like that. In my head, I'm just so blown away. I'm just like, how do you do all of this running all the time? I find it very impressive as someone who is not really a runner myself. So, anyway, but I got the hand warmers initially because ahead of races, you have to like put your stuff in your bag in whatever bag security it is, but you don't want to be in all of your layers running. So you either have to like take everything off right before the race. And if I'm with him, I can grab his clothes and like save them. But there are some races where I'm not allowed near the start or it doesn't make sense or I can't be in certain places. So he almost has to like layer up and stuff he doesn't mind throwing out or just be in his race stuff, but then like he would be freezing, especially, in February. So that's why the hand warmers. But anyway, even just putting some of them in your various coat pockets so you can activate them if needed, I feel like is another secret sartorial hack. I know it's not technically fashion related, but if it can help keep you even warmer, especially if you're popping around outside, then I think it's worth mentioning. Okay, let's move on and discuss winter beauty. You guys know I am beauty obsessed. I could talk about beauty all day. I could probably have a whole separate beauty podcast, but that's not what we're here for today. We're here to talk about winter beauty that hydrates, because I feel like winter is really the time where, even though you are not necessarily sweating as much or experiencing as much moisture loss as you are in the summer months on that front, it's still just a time where skin can get really dry and cracked when it's exposed to the really frigid winter air. And for that reason, I find that giving your skin a little bit of extra TLC during the winter months can only help it. To start with some easy DIY stuff that I feel like you can do within a couple of minutes just in your own home. Number one is eye masks. I am such a big fan of an under eye mask. I actually had some on earlier this morning, so hopefully my under eyes look nice and bouncy and hydrated to you guys. I'm sure if you're watching this episode on YouTube, that was the first thing you noticed, like, wow, her under eyes look so hydrated. Again, for me, it's something that I feel like I obviously notice more than anyone. I basically love all different eye masks. I just finished up a jar of the Pixie Nutrify ones. I am currently using a jar of the Florence by Mills one. If you're on the go, I also recommend the Wander Beauty Baggage Claim eye masks, because they're fun. They come in like gold and also rose gold, so it literally feels like you're putting a champagne wrapper or something under your eyes. But I try not to use the individually packaged ones unless I'm traveling, just because I feel like it's more cost effective and obviously friendlier to the environment to use the ones in the jar. And I just stick these in my refrigerator and pull them out in the morning. Absolutely love that. And then another thing is overall face masks. So whether you are doing an actual, clay mask or one that you apply to your face, or a sheet mask, I do feel like this is helpful to do in the winter months just to purify your skin if that's one thing you're looking for. I do love the Rael Miracle Clear Purifying Clay Mask. It actually comes in a tube, so it's really easy to apply versus the jar. I love putting that even just like around my T-zone or all over my face and then washing it off. Or I also love the Innisfree sheet masks to keep your skin just feeling nice and fresh. Also, Sephora collection makes a bunch that are really affordable. You can also go to any drugstore and get some. Putting that on and then maybe sitting down even with your jade roller and just like rolling the product in, really helping it sink into your skin, and also obviously feeling snatched at the same time. It's like a little mini winter facial spa in your own home. That's always fun. Some of my other favorite hydrating products are the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask. I can't even tell you how many times I have repurchased this just myself. I've gotten it in PR a couple of times, which is always appreciated, but it's one of those things that if like Laneige decided one day that I would never get PR from them again, I would just still continue to buy it because I am so obsessed with it. I always do the original berry scent or flavor. I never know what to call it. And I'm fully obsessed. That always keeps my lips nice and hydrated and moisturized during the winter months. And I also love the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Cream for like deep hydration of your skin. This is one I always feel comfortable recommending to everyone because the value is great. You get this gigantic jar. Like I have one right now and I've barely made a dent in it. It'll probably last me through the entirety of this year. And it's also an acne and sensitive skin safe brand. It is tested by dermatologists. It's cleared for sensitive skin. It's fragrance free. So in my personal experience as someone who tests, hundreds of beauty products every year for work, it's probably one of the best and most universally perfect moisturizers to recommend. So here I am doing that. And just some other fun things to, again, like bring the spa to your own home. I love the Pixie Beauty Jasmine Oil Blend. I sometimes do this as the very last step in my winter skincare routine after moisturizer in the evenings, just to lock everything in. And for me, the soothing jasmine scent is a nice way to like help me wind down at the end of the day. And I also love like a little spa headband to apply my products at the end of the day. This is a nice way to make sure that my hair stays out of my face and it just kind of helps get me in the mood like I'm doing my cute girly skincare routine, And I must add the importance of continuing to wear sunscreen every single day, even in the winter months. It is still sunny outside. I'm looking out my window right now. It looks like a gorgeous sunny day. I'm sure it's freezing, but the sun is shining nonetheless. And even if I wasn't going outside, I am getting exposure to blue light from my laptop. That impacts your skin as well. It's so important to remember to wear your SPF daily. If you want one that's a little bit more skincare focused, that's almost like a serum based one, Kiehl's has one that I've been testing that I like so far. If you want just a regular sunscreen that looks beautiful under makeup and that is really nice and does not leave a white cast, I do also like the Innisfree sunscreen. And I can leave links to all of these products in the show notes. Okay, let's move on and discuss food in the winter months. I personally love soup season. I am here for it. To me, it is such a good lunch. I love having soup and, well, sometimes what I'll do with my Trader Joe's runs, you guys know I'm Trader Joe's obsessed, of course, is I'll go and grab soups and then I'll also grab those little mini pretzel sticks as kind of like a side. And I really like to dip my pretzel stick in my soup as I'm eating it. That feels like a nice little winter lunch to me personally. I really want to learn to make more soup though. I actually do have a soup recipe in the Trader Joe's 5 items or less cookbook that I'm sure I've mentioned on here before. They have the cookbook, which I can link, but there's also an Instagram account. So if you just want to like go off the recipes on the Instagram, by all means, the account is literally called Trader Joe's 5 items or less. But I ended up buying both cookbooks actually, just because I like having them in the kitchen to physically flip through and to just like have on hand versus having to go get sucked in on Instagram all the time. But anyway, there's one on there that's like a chicken orzo type of soup. So I really want to try making a soup from scratch. A few years ago, I remember Andrew's parents gave us like the butternut squash from the garden that they had in their backyard. And I ended up making a butternut squash. Was it a bisque? Was it a stew? I'm kind of forgetting like what exactly the name of it was. I guess it was basically just like a soup, but even stuff like that. And I used the food processor to get the butternut squash, nice and creamy. I just feel like there's so much more I could be doing from scratch. Although when I'm in the pinch, I do like the Trader Joe's pre-made soups because I feel like they're the right portion. And also, Andrew and I sometimes want different soups. And yeah, I think their tomato feta is probably my favorite. Okay, next up for winter foods is I am such a big proponent, especially during the winter months, of either sheet pan recipes or like one pot meals, just something that is quick and easy. I don't know about you guys, but obviously, as the sun continues to set before 5 p.m., it's just, you get to the end of the day, you've been working all day, and you're trying to like drum up the motivation or the enthusiasm to cook. And I really like cooking food. I like trying to eat, whole foods and healthy foods when I can. And sometimes at the end of the day, it's just like, oh my God, I cannot even get my brain to figure out what we should have for dinner or actually cook the recipe that I planned. So whenever I can make them as simple as possible and as straightforward as possible, I'm here to do that. So a couple of these sheet pan or one pot meals that are kind of in my rotation lately. Number one is a simple sausage and peppers. I love the Trader Joe's unexpected cheddar sausage, but you can use literally any sausage that you want for this. I also usually buy a pack of the tricolor peppers. So usually like one red, one orange, one yellow bell pepper. And then I also cut up a little bit of red onion and throw it in there too, like as a slice or like a chunk almost. I put it all in a sheet pan and I just season it with like garlic powder, salt and pepper, olive oil, put it in the oven for 18 minutes at 400 degrees. And then when there's 3 minutes left, I take a bag of the jasmine rice from Trader Joe's, the frozen one, and put it in the microwave. It's ready in 3 minutes. I plate that first and then put the sausage and peppers on top. Delicious. It's filling. It's simple. It's just a lot of whole foods. Very easy. Okay, another one in my rotation that I just made the other day actually was beef lo mein. So for this, I will either grab like shaved beef steak, or you could also use ground, beef, turkey, chicken, whatever. Trader Joe's, I know, very much into Trader Joe's, obviously. If you don't have a Trader Joe's, there are definitely similar products to what I'm mentioning though. I'll either get the Thai wheat noodles or the squiggly noodles. Either way, like just a pre-made noodle that you can throw into this. And then I either buy one of their pre-made stir-fry veggie options. They have a fresh one and a frozen one. I think both are pretty good. Or you could just cut up, some bell pepper. You could put in some broccoli. You could do some edamame. Or not edamame. Is that what they're called? Edamame? Yeah, I guess it is edamame. They also sometimes will have like those little corns or mushrooms, some carrots, stuff like that. And then I just throw in some kind of stir-fry sauce, usually the General Tso's sauce from Trader Joe's. Okay, and then a couple of other recipes that I found online. I will link these 3 down below because they are like accessible on blogs for you guys to basically copy and paste. But one was chicken meatballs over orzo. again, love this one, love how fresh it is, love the mix of flavors. Another one was like a flank steak Mexican inspired bowl. For me, this isn't going to be in the weekly rotation just because flank steak, is expensive. Delicious, but expensive. I successfully tried cooking flank steak for the first time when I made these, and I was really impressed with myself, you guys. I get scared cooking meat sometimes, but the flank steak, I feel like I've got a handle on that, which is great. And then another one is almost like a shrimp couscous with asparagus that I found on someone's Substack. I will link that for you guys. And then, I don't know, I've been debating if I should get a crock pot. I obviously have heard great things. And if my mom's listening to this, I know she's screaming at me while she's listening because she's like, you have an Instant Pot, but you're storing it at my house right now. It's not in your apartment. And I know I have an Instant Pot. I know that, Mom. But maybe a crock pot would make more sense. I don't know, because then I could put it on in the morning and it could be cooking all day. If you guys are crockpot diehards, tell me what you like about yours, what kind of recipes you make. If it makes enough sense, I would maybe consider it for the future, but I also really do have, limited counter space, storage space, etc. So I'm not totally sure where I would even put a crockpot if I were to get one, which is why my Instant Pot is at my parents' house right now. So my apologies to you guys for storing all my stuff, which I appreciate. Okay, let's move on and talk about some entertainment. I obviously just did a whole episode about books to read for 2026. That probably would have been last week's episode if I'm remembering correctly. But if you're looking for some winter-specific recommendations, let me give you like a little seasonal breakdown on the book front. Okay, in my head for romance, one is the Hygge Holiday. I hope I'm saying that word correctly. You guys know this, like, the Scandinavian word for coziness, right? This is by Rosie Blake, and it's a really cute story about a woman who is opening a toy shop in a little village in England. If memory serves correctly, I read it almost 2 years ago now, but to me, I just remember that being a super cozy read. It is a little bit Christmas adjacent. I was having a hard time finding winter romances that were not Christmas novels. But I feel like this one could apply to the larger winter season as a whole. And it's not so Christmas focused versus I just read The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. And that is like so Christmassy, it's crazy. And then it's also hard to find a romance that is not like a summer beach read. So one that I feel like was kind of seasonally neutral that you guys might like is Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld. This one is really fun. Basically, an SNL type writer has a little flirtation with that week's celebrity guest star, and it kind of continues past when the celebrity is supposed to be leaving and done with their segment. Obviously, I feel like winter is a great time for a mystery. So a couple that I'm pretty sure I've talked about all of these on the podcast, so I won't give you an in-depth summary for them, but I'll just rattle them off. First of all, Anatomy of an Alibi by Ashley Elston and Woman Down by Colleen Hoover were both on my 2026 most anticipated reads and are now both out at the time you guys are listening to this. Another one I would suggest is The Cloisters by Katie Hayes. I loved this one when I read it. It takes place in the fall, but it still feels like the right kind of wintry mystery to me because it takes place at the Cloisters, which is part of the Met Museum, but it's all the way up on, 190th Street, I want to say. And it's just an absolutely beautiful setting. The writing is really good. And I also put Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult and Jennifer Finney Boylan on here, just not like an outright mystery, but basically a kind of mixture of a coming of age and also suspense and literary fiction. I feel like it's just something I would feel comfortable recommending to pretty much anyone because I was really blown away by this story. And if you're looking for any start of year nonfiction vibes, which, usually one of these books sneaks its way onto my list in January. And if you're feeling the New Year's energy and looking for a nonfiction read, Atomic Habits by James Clear, great book to read at the start of the year. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. She also has one, I forget the exact name of it. I think it's called like You Are a Badass with Money or something. Like she has a couple of these books. You Are a Badass is a great way to just get your confidence, reframe your mindset, get really self-assured about what your intentions are and what your goals are and how you can go after them in a way that is true to your vision, but also doesn't like hurt other people. Really like that as a start of year book. And also Uptime by Laura Mae Martin. This woman is literally like Google's chief of productivity, or I forget what her title is, but it's something like that. I personally read this in September. It's also a great like back to school energy kind of vibe, but I would suggest reading it at the top of the year if you feel like your time management is just non-existent or really needs a makeover. She has so many good like little tips and strategies. My friend Alyssa and I are like equally obsessed with this book. We basically had like a mini book club after we both read it, and we're just like voice noting each other our thoughts after it. And I think we both think this woman is like a genius. So definitely would recommend those. I will have all the book recs linked in the show notes too. And let's talk TV, aka the winter watch list. So I already have sung the praises of Traders at the beginning of this episode in the consume part of the create and consume segment. So I will not continue my diatribe about that here. Also, The Pit is back. If you're not familiar, it's a show about the emergency room at the Pittsburgh University Hospital, I believe, and they call it The Pit, and it stars Noah Wyle. Andrew and I just watched the first episode of season 2 last night. Already so many questions. And the way this show works is each episode is just an hour of their shift. And my God, it just makes me so grateful. So grateful to all of our medical professionals. If you work in medicine or with patients or anything like, and you have felt underappreciated at all, please know how much I appreciate you. Like every time I watch them do one thing, I'm like, oh my God, if I did that one thing in a day, I would go home and feel so accomplished. But it's just thing after thing, and there's so much thankless work. And I just think the show perfectly captures, I mean, I don't know because I'm not a doctor clearly, but I feel like it is a pretty realistic look into what life is like when you work in medicine. And I'm just so eternally grateful to everyone who spends the time and money going to school and learning things and researching and testing and helping us all be our healthiest selves, because our health is just so important. And also, this show is amazing. And I'm really excited for the next episode. So it's releasing weekly, as is Traders, which I like. I like an episodic television moment. I like appointment television. I like being able to log on to Threads right after an episode drops and discuss it with all of my not real life friends, but like my internet pals. And I will just add a caveat to that and say it is a gory show. I have to look away constantly. It's kind of a hard one to watch while you're eating. So maybe like an after dinner show. But it's so well done. I'm so curious to see what direction season 2 ends up going in. Okay, Love is Blind is coming back. We're getting season 10 on February 11th. I believe that the 2 cities that they're going to do this year, usually there's one in the spring, one in the fall, are Columbus, Ohio, and Boston, Massachusetts. I feel like you don't need the Massachusetts part to clarify Boston, but I wanted to clarify Columbus, Ohio, just in case there are other Columbuses you know of. Anyway, this should be a pretty interesting season of Love is Blind, given that Love is Blind season 9 is maybe the one that people didn't like the most. I mean, as with any of these shows, you know, season 1 is always going to be an anomaly. It will always be the first of its kind. I feel like for that reason, it's sometimes kind of hard to recreate the magic, quote unquote, of it. But for me, like, I'm just always going to keep watching, you know, whether or not these couples actually get married or end up together. I'm just here for the storytelling. I'm here for the drama. And I also like the pods. Can you guys let me know if you watch this show, if you like the pods or not? I personally like the pods. And I've even seen some people who will watch the pods and put like a blanket or something over their TV so they can't see what everyone looks like and they have to deduce. And then when they do the reveal, like they reveal it to themselves too. I don't know. Like, I'm just always going to be watching this show, though, I think. So I am looking forward to it and I'm excited about it. Even though some people think season 9 was like not good. So many people said that about like season 7 and even season 8. And I still think those were all highly entertaining seasons of the show. Okay, Bridgerton season 4 is coming out this month, January 29th. We are getting part 1. So I think the first 4 or 5 episodes will drop. And this is going to be Benedict Bridgerton's story. So we've gotten to see Anthony, Daphne, and Colin. Now we're going to get to see Benedict's love story play out. And I'm excited. Benedict is one of those characters that I have a soft spot for, but I feel like I don't really know that much about him. So I'm super excited to learn more about him this season. I'm super excited to meet Sophie, who is going to be our female lead this season, and see how everything comes together, and also see what everyone else's relationships that are kind of going to be like the B plots, I'm assuming this season, shape up to look like, and also what's going to happen now with Lady Whistledown. So many questions, and this show is obviously just beautifully shot. I love the music. I love the costumes. Shonda Rhimes' brain must be an absolutely fascinating place. So I can't wait for that. That's going to be on Netflix, by the way. So is Love is Blind. The Pit is on HBO. Traders is on Peacock. I know. And then the last one that I'm going to tell you about is on a completely different streaming service. This is actually getting out of hand with how many different things we need to just watch the shows that we want to watch. But that's, a monologue for another day. Paradise season 2 is coming back February 23rd. And I have not heard like anybody talking about this. And I'm so confused by that because season 1 was maybe one of the best single seasons of television that I've ever seen. I mean, Sterling K. Brown is unbelievable. Like his performance, and I feel like my first exposure to him was when he had a part in one episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And even in that episode, I remember just being like totally captivated by this guy. I have so many lingering questions from season 1. Season 1 broke my brain in a lot of ways, and I believe it was season 1, episode 7. Yeah, season 1, episode 7 of Paradise is called The Day. That episode of TV, I think I just was like crying and shaking through the entire thing. Like the level of suspense that they were able to draw out when all of the details just started to piece together and like the realizations dawn on you. Oh my God. I will say though, as someone who I feel like has just grown up with a bit of a crush on James Marsden, like mainly from 27 Dresses, maybe a tiny bit from Ella Enchanted, and obviously in Jury Duty. What else is new? I feel like there's going to be a little bit less of him in this season, so I'm not super looking forward to that, but I am just so excited about what could be for season 2 of Paradise that I cannot wait. I'm so excited. Honestly, if this all is making you more excited for winter, I hope it is. That would mean that I've done my job. And I feel like between having good weekday meals that you can rely on, having a show to look forward to at the end of the day, having some things in your fashion and beauty arsenal that can just make you feel like your most confident self. These are all little things that make your day to day a tiny bit better, or at least they make my day to day a tiny bit better. And it's just a couple of those little luxuries that can really help power you through your days and make them things that you look forward to, not things that you dread. So I really hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I am so happy to be back in the groove of recording for 2026. It's going to be a really fun year for the podcast. If there's anything at all you guys want to see on the podcast in 2026, please feel free to reach out. And until then, I'll talk to you all next week.